For that I need to go much further back to a time when I was just a simple sheep farmer, before I knew any of this assassin or Templars, or of Blackbeard Benjamin Hornigold, or of Nassau, or the Observatory, and might never have been any wiser but for the chance to meeting at the Old Shillaga one hot summer's day back in 1711. The thing is, I was one of the I was the thing is I was one of those young firebrands who liked a drink, even though it got to me a few scrapes, quite a few incidents, shall we say, of which I'm none too proud. But that's the cross we have to bear if you're a little over fond of the booze. It's rare to find a drinker with a clean conscience. Most of us will have considered knocking on the head at one time or another for reforming our lives and perhaps turning it to God or trying to make something out of ourselves. But then noon comes around you and you know what's good for that? Head another drink. And so you head for the tavern. The taverns I'm referring to were in Bristol, on the southwest coast of dear old England, where were accustomed fierce winters and glorious summers, and that particular year, the year that I first met her, 1711. Like I say, I was just 17 years old. And yes, yes, I was drunk when it happened. In those days, you could say I was drunk a lot of the time, perhaps. Well, let's not exaggerate. I don't want to give my bad account of myself, but perhaps half of the time, maybe a bit more. Home was the outskirts of a village called Hatherton, 7 miles outside Bristol. We ran in a small holding keeping sheep. Father's interest lay with livestock. They are always having me on board had freed them from the aspect of the business he most despised, which was making the trips into town with the merchandise, haggling with merchants and traders, bargaining, cutting deals, and soon I come on my age, which I mean as soon I was enough a man to meet the eye of our business associates with trade and equal. Now that's what I did, and my father was too glad to let me do it. My father's name was Bernard, my mother Lynette. They had sailed from Swansea, but had found their way into the West Country when I was 10 years old. We still had a Welsh accent. I don't suppose our mind that marked us as different. I was a sheep farmer, not one of the sheep. Father and mother used to say I had the gift of gab, and mother particularly used to tell me was a good-looking young man. Charm the birds off the trees, and it's true. Even though out there I put myself in a certain way with the ladies. Let's put in this way of dealing with the wives of merchants was more successful hunting ground than having to barter with their husbands. Now how I spent my days would depend on the reason January to May. There was a lambling season for our business a time when I find myself in the barns by sunup, sore lamble during the night. If they had, they would taken into one of the smaller barns and put into pens, lambling jugs we called them, where father would take over while I was cleaning feeders, filling them up again, changing the hay and water. My mother would be assiduously recording details of new births in journal. Me, I didn't have any letters then. I do now, of course. Coraline taught me them, along with much else that made me a man, but not back then. So that duty fell to mother, who owned letters were much better, but not enough to at least keep a good record. They loved working together, mother and father. Even more reason why father liked me going to town. He and my mother, it was like though they were joined at the hip. I had never seen another two people so much in love who had so little need. Like a display in fact was plain to witness that each other. It was good for the soul to see. Hmm. Hello. Recording. Sorry for the intrusion. It was my auntie. She just came in. Okay, so just continue. In the autumn, we'd bring the rams to the pasture to graze the eels like a sheep. So they would get on with the business of producing more lambs for the following spring. Fields needed tending to, fences was walls building and preparing. In winter, if the weather was very bad, we brought sheep to the barns, kept them safe and warm, ready for January when the lambing season began. But it was during summer when I really came my own shearing season. Mother and father carried out the bulk of it when I made more frequent trips into town, not with carcasses for meat, but with my cart laden with wool. And in summer, even with more opportunity to do so, I found myself frequently became a familiar sight in the taverns. In fact, in my stockings and slightly battered down tricorn like the thing is my trademark because my mother said it well with my hair, which was permanently in need of a quite striking sandy color, if I do say so myself. I was in the taverns discovered that my gift of the gab was improved. A few ales at noon. The booze, it had an effect, doesn't it? Loosens tongues, inhib- inhibitions, morals. Not that I was exactly shy and retiring when I was sober, but the ale, it gave me the extra edge after all. The money from extra sales made as a result of my ale inspired salesmanship more than covered the cost of the ale in the first place, or at least that's what I told myself at the time. And there was something else too, apart from the foolish notion that Edward and his cups was a better salesman than Edward sober, and that was my state of mind. Because the truth was, I thought different. No, I knew I was different. There were times I'd sit by myself at night and know I was seeing the world in a way of my own. I know that now because I couldn't put the words back then. Others say I felt different. And either because of it or despite it, I decided that I didn't want to be a sheep farmer all my life. I knew it the first day when I set foot on the farm as an employee, as not as a child. I saw myself then look at my father, and I understood I was no longer here to play, and would soon go home, dream about a future, setting sail on the high seas. No, this was my future, and I would spend the rest of my life in a sheep farm, working for a farmer, marrying a local girl. Certain boys teaching them to become sheep farmers, just like father, just like grandfather. I'm gonna stop there. So thank you for watching my video and subscribe to my channel.